evening. Welcome to Monday night's edition of the Rangers, not another Rangers podcast. So I'll be your host for this evening, Gary. Try to remember what it was there. I'll be your host for this evening, Gary. And for those of you observant and realise my slip up there, I'm a loan transfer from the Rangers Journal over to Not Another Podcast, and I'll be hosting tonight and some shows going forward. So again, this is as much a novelty for me as it is for you as watchers. So I'm going to find out a little bit about Scotty and Ricky and Scott as well as we start this. So I know very little about them other than we've all turned up tonight to talk about Rangers. So I'm going to come first to Ricky. How are you doing, Ricky?
No, very good, mate. All the best. And Scotty's put you under pressure. Your second pod, I think you've done one with us before, but he's got you hosting day one, man. What a man, man. What a man. But best of luck to you.
That's more because he didn't want to do it. I don't think it's done out of kindness. There's no any kindness there, Scott, is there?
There isn't, Gary. I've known you for years. Not seen you for years, but I've known you for years. Do you know what I mean? But you know yourself, I know you like to jump into the deep end, so I thought, might as well ask you. So you said yes, which is great stuff. So it saves me coming to work and try to do an agenda throughout the day. But no, good to see you on and good to see the other guys on as well.
No, definitely, and I've got the easy part. Hosting's the easy part because I just fire questions at each of you. So, and Scotty, how you doing?
Aye, not bad. I'm good. It's been a long time since I've done one of these, so excited to get stuck in. But I tell you what, that is some intro. Absolutely. Oh, you got me absolutely fired up there. What time does the concert start?
I'm just excited now. So what are you excited to say, Scotty? What's the big thing that's exciting you already after that pod's got you fired up? What's the topic you want to talk about tonight?
Oh, to be honest, if you started, I'll probably start on a rant. So it's best to actually start with a question. It's been over a year since I've done a pod of any kind, so I've got a lot of built up, probably emotions, probably the best way to put it.
Right. So as we go around the agenda then tonight, your pent up frustration, Scotty, can come out to the fore, right? So hopefully it'll be constructive, cathartic, and come the end of it, you might be feeling a little bit like therapy's over.
You described me to a T there. I tend to start off on a rant and then talk myself around, so it'll be all good.
Ideal. So we're in the midst of an international break. For those of you that know that Scotland have been on at the weekend and lost unluckily in the last minute. But for most of us, space that have been out, Rangers not been on for the last week or so. So what we're going to do is we're going to start the countdown to Rugby Park, the plastic pitch on Sunday. We're going to talk about the Clement's first year. So Clement, as of tomorrow, I think it might be, it's 365 days in charge at Rangers. So we'll talk a little bit about his first year, how we've seen it, how we think it's been. We're going to talk a little bit about where we're at just now in the season, how successful we've been, how well it's been, what the flaws, what the strengths, what the weaknesses, where we're going. And then we'll look a wee bit ahead about the next 7 games in 21 days, which starts again on Sunday. So that's the plan. If we fit in some other stuff around people like Hadji or some topics that are jumping about, we will try. But the plan is we'll focus more on where we are now, and where we're going. That's my thinking behind the agenda. And the first thing I really would to talk about Clement, really. So I suppose I'm interested in. I'll come to you first, Ricky. Your thoughts on Clement's first year as a whole?
Yeah, well, it's went past pretty fast, to be honest, and he started off really well. I think after what we'd put up with Michael Beale and the nonsense that he used to talk, like the car salesman patter, we were all Clement was the perfect guy to come in because he was pretty much a straight talker. And when he first came in, everything he said, we were seeing it on the pitch, and then we were all pretty excited. We went on a really good run. And then we went to Parkhead and the wheels fell off a little bit for the first time when we went to Celtic Park. We were all thinking we were going to put on a good performance, and then that was a bad performance there. And then we came back well from that. We were winning matches again. And then I think it was like 6-7 games to go. We were actually 2-3 points clear. And then for some reason, the players just couldn't get it over the line. Now, after that, we were all excited for this rebuild in the summer, and it started off pretty good. We brought in a lot of young, exciting players, and we were all pretty much excited with the first few weeks of the summer. And then after that, for some reason, the board hung them out to dry, and all the signings, all the experienced talent that we thought was coming in just didn't happen, and it was in dribs and drabs. And For me, if I was to rate Clement for the last year, I would probably give him a 6 out of 10. I think some of the football, some weeks will play okay. I don't think the standard's that great in Scottish football, but any time we step up to the plate, he doesn't seem to learn lessons for me. You know, the Leon game was really disappointing. The way we defend with our full backs and the team being wide open, he needs to sort out. I'm really disappointed that he doesn't seem to learn from the huge glaring defects we've got in the team. He needs to get that sorted out. So 6 out of 10, I would say, for his first year.
Good. And we'll come back and touch on all of those points in a little while because they're all relevant. Scott, yourself, first year, reflecting on his first year.
Similar to Ricky, I think they come in for what we were seeing under Michael Beale wasn't great. He come in, we've got to run a 1-on-1. We watched top of the league. We thought something's happening here. And in the real game after that, it just went pear-shaped and right down the slope. And I win a game 6 out of 10, I would give him 5, and that's me being generous. I think he talks too much about stats for me, especially when we lost a game. But we've created the same amount of chances, we've had the same amount of shots. When you're watching a game with your eyes thinking, we've been awful. Do you know what I mean? He makes quite a lot of mistakes. He's very stubborn. He's very stats orientated, which a lot of managers are nowadays. So I think he does need maybe another 2 transfer windows, because some of the signings they have made, they have been decent. They've got potential. They can grow, and we can see with some of the players he can get better, and we can sell on for money. But I think he has to do a lot better. He's got until the end of the season to see he can do better. But I'm not sure what happens with the board, because I think the board have to get himself in order first before anything else happens with Clement, because we don't even get a CEO. Then they've been chasing a CEO for the last 6 months. There's still no one there. So I think there are a lot of things at the club that's not great at the moment, Gary, but also we're in a semi-final. We won a cup last season. We've done better in Champions League, but we're still in Europe, so it's a bit glass half empty, glass half full, isn't it?
Yeah. So we'll come back to all them again. You know that we're going to look at where we're at now this season. Scotty, just looking at his last year as a whole, how have you found it to be?
It's been interesting. It's been a roller coaster of a lot of optimism, bit of doom and gloom. Come to the summer, a lot more optimism, and then almost as soon as a big test comes on the footballing pitch, I just feel like we've always been brought right back down, not even back down to earth, but just, I suppose that's probably the best expression. And I suppose you could judge him on the footballing side, and the stuff off the park kind of gives him a bit of a pass. And that's really unusual as a Rangers supporter, saying you'll give your manager a pass at any point. I mean, I'm more with Scott in terms of 5 out of 10, and that's being generous, mainly because I think we've kind of washed over, ignored a lot of the warning signs that we'd ordinarily take heed. Like, we can talk about Celtic games, but if you cast your mind back to the Europa League last season, particularly after getting such a really good result away to Benfica, do you recall how we shaped up in that home game? Almost kamikaze, with the back four playing on the halfway line for the majority of the game. And we got caught out, didn't change anything. And that for me is a huge warning sign. And then all throughout that period, you know, we had a bit of success. We won a trophy. Clement coming in, saying good things. Haven't got my team. We completely appreciate that. We then saw a collapse, get ourselves ahead by the usual suspects, and we're thinking, right, okay, well, this is going to change in the summer. Regardless of whether the board hangs him out to dry or not, he had an opportunity, or the footballing side had an opportunity to address this right up until the start of the summer. It wasn't done. We were always talked about having targets that were coming in ready, and none of them were ready to come into the team. Well, whose fault is that? Well, we don't know. So it's hard to judge them on that. But then we seem just to hear the next stage of excuses. You'll see the best side in October. And we buy into that. the first Old Firm game comes around and we say, right, okay, well, it's probably a bit too early for us. We get absolutely scudded. We don't learn the same way. And for me, and having watched football, you know, my entire life, stop telling me my eyes are deceiving me. Stop telling me that we go to Parkhead and get scudded 3-0. But look, we had 4 shots on target. I feel like I'm being gaslit at the moment. And I don't want to be a doom and gloom merchant, because I do see some promising signs, particularly with the players. We've got a squad of average players. That's enough for the rest of Scottish football. The acid test comes when we need to step up a level. And Clement's already recognised that and says, we need to do that. That's great. But you're the guy that's supposed to do it. You're the guy that's supposed to drive it. And if you can't do it, you're kind of admitting to your own fault there. So what do we do?
So picking up on that, I'm going to pick up on a few points there, Ricky. Then, so one of the things was we all talked about the collapse last season. I suppose I'm interested in what your thoughts are. There's lots of different views and viewpoints as to why that happened. So I think, if I remember rightly, he's played 37 games in the last 12 months since he joined. I think I'm trying to remember stats. He's won 27 games, 5 draws and 5 defeats in that time. But last season, obviously, up until March, was it? March? I'm trying to remember that Motherwell game in April. And the wheels come off. What do you think was the reason behind it? So there's lots of different perspectives on that.
I think it was to do with John Lundstrom's contract. The second that John Lundstrom, I think he was one of his star players in the midfield, and he was giving him that dig in midfield. And the second that John Lundstrom realised that Rangers weren't paying him 35k a week and he could get that in Turkey, the guy basically down tools, man. His performance at Parkhead was one of the worst performances I've ever seen from a player in a Rangers jersey. And the team lacks leadership. It still lacks leadership now, you know. I mean, I'm not like Tavernier at right back for me should not be playing. He's supposed to be a Rangers captain, would have grabbed that squad. You wouldn't even need a manager in the past and would have got the players over the line last season. It basically never happened. The players absolutely shat it when the fit. And it wasn't just it's not just last season. It was seasons before that where it was Van Bronckhorst when we were ahead at New Year by miles when Ange went on to win the league and stuff like that. It's basically the same leadership group and it's been the same outcome. We've got rid of most of the players. We've still got a few to get rid of. I would like to see the younger generation given a chance to be the leadership group. Your Souters, your Barons, players like that. That's what I would like to see. I think the time has come to hopefully in January move Tavernier on and a new leadership group. Because for me, the reason we lost the league last season was because the leadership group was absolutely piss poor, and that was Lundstrom as well.
Yeah, I'm going to come to Scotty. Any differing views as to or the same views, that's fine, but anything different you'd add as to why last couple of months went so badly wrong?
I have no idea, because it just seems to be the same thing, the same performances, and I think Ricky's probably hit the nail on the head. And I kind of see it with Tavernier. I feel like he's struggled, and he looks like he's physically struggling, but mentally looks checked out. And whether that's to do with the fact that you can only put up with stick for so long, but that's also part of being a Rangers captain. You stick your head above the parapet, you're going to get shot at, and that's what you need. You want like Barry Ferguson, and we talk about historical captains: Barry Ferguson, Richard Gough, Terry Butcher, whoever it is, have always, or at some stage in their career at Rangers, come up with stick, come up with challenges, but they never shirked from it, or they never bit, or they kind of made sure they did all their talking on the park. We don't have a group of players that are willing to do that. That is something that you also need to breed over a period of time that we don't have, or we don't have the patience for, I should rather say. So it needs to happen quick. Are we going to see a repeat of that? No, I don't think we will see a repeat of that, because I don't think we'll come close this season. And the mentality, particularly from the head in the dressing room, and you call that Philippe Clement, and I haven't been on the pod, so I haven't actually heard you guys talk about it. But I'm sure you did. And he's talking about beating Ross County 6-0. Like that for me sends the totally the wrong message about what a measure of success is at Rangers. All of a sudden we're celebrating or patting ourselves on the back for what should be fairly standard. Yeah, okay, it's a great performance. You win 6-0. Brilliant. Move on. Beat Celtic 3-0. Well done. Pat yourself on the back. Move on. Forget about it. Move on. Just keep moving on. Just keep moving forward. But we don't. So that this mentality needs to change. And until that does, throughout the whole club, we could get our noses in front again, and we'll see the same thing again.
I think that was obviously a lot of interesting points here. I always struggle sometimes. Scott's had this conversation before about mentality. Is it mentality versus good players, and good players win things, and it's irrespective of the mentality. So it's always a debate whether it's the mentality's issue or it's just the quality of the player in some ways. So I suppose if we look at one of the things that you mentioned, Scotty, you talked about the learning the lessons from the Benfica game, and I suppose it's been evident still in Scott, if I come to you, that we play in a certain kamikaze style is probably the best way to put it. We do attack with many players and do leave a lot of gaps. Do you see any changes in the way that he's setting up to compensate for the things that went wrong last year? Sorry.
Not really. I think he's got a certain style he wants to play, the manager, and he's adamant the way he wants to play. He wants to play with a 10. He wants the wingers to be introverted, come inside. He wants the fullbacks to press forward, and then you get Connor Barron in a default position of being the 6 when he's never really played that position before. So you've got him trying to cover a spot if the centre backs really going out, and the centre backs haven't got any pace. But with that, like Scotty alluded to before, high up the park, and then when teams do break on us, there's so much pace because Czerny isn't defensive minded. Rami isn't defensive minded. He's not in play. He's more of a 10. Lawrence as well when he's playing isn't defensive minded. Dessers isn't, and I think that's why we're broke one season, because you can see it even now week St Johnson done it to us, Haswell done it to us. Everybody knows that's a weakness for us. But he doesn't combat it, he doesn't think, right, I can change this style because I've got certain players with strengths who could do better here. He wants these players, he might think they're great players, they're good players, and he brought them in, but he wants these guys to do what he wants them to do, know what they can do. If you know what I mean, he wants, like, Rami's more a boy that wants a ball at his feet, but he wants number 10 to make runs by the centre forward, going left and right. He doesn't want the players to pull the ball and dribble. Same with the wingers. I mean, Cortez is only one out of all the wingers who's got a bit of pace that can come back. I'm even a squad my Tom because I just think he's rotten, but he's the one that can come back. But Cortez isn't the best defensive either. So when teams are attacking us, Germany's missing in action. Barami's out because he was getting that deep the week. In the game, he was coming back like a 6 position, Barami to try and get the ball. You can not tell me you're saying somebody to come back that far back to get the ball, to break forward. Use him with his strength as a number 10. When he came to us, we're told he's good on the ball, he can create, he can score. We're not using his strength. So, manager's going to have to look at the players he's got. Listen, I think they've got an average squad. They've got 1 or 2 guys who are good. They've got 1 or 2 guys who've got potential to be really good. But he has to use the players to their strengths and not use the players to what he wants to play. Just because he's got a favourite model of playing, he has to change it to suit the players. Because we've all said it before, he's putting square pegs and round holes at things.
So I suppose building on that, Ricky, and so Scotty said that he has a style of play that doesn't seem to deviate particularly much in any game. And it's been found out potentially against Benfica or against Leon or Celtic in certain times. At what point does that become a real failing and a real concern regarding the manager or versus the players? I mean, where's the issue there?
Well, like you said, we're going to find out a lot in the next 2 months until the big game at New Year. I mean, our next even this week, we've got 3 fixtures we should be winning, right? We've got Kilmarnock away, which is going to be a tough fixture on that plastic pitch. Then we've got Steaua Bucharest at home, and for some reason, our European form under Coman is completely fallen off a cliff. At home, we play fantastic away and get good results away, but at home, for some reason, he's not getting results. And then we've got St Mirren at home. So that's 3 tasty games to see where we are as a team. We normally don't come back too great after the international break, but we are getting a few players back. You know, Yilmaz is back, Danilo's back in training. So he needs to find especially up front. Dessers for him has been absolutely dreadful. So he's got to find a way to get that front three purring. You know, Czerny played good in the last game, but his form has been pretty poor. I think that front three for me has been really disappointing this season. And I know what Scott's saying about pushing Barami back to the number 10 position, but I don't think we've got a choice. I think we need to keep him on the left just now because all our left-sided players are injured. Matondo's still injured, Cortez is still injured, McCausland, you can't play McCausland on the left, so you've not got much of a choice there, you know. So for me, he's got to keep Barami on the left, and I actually think he's been quite good on the left with Yefte. I think they've had quite a good partnership going, so I don't think he needs to tinker with that too much. But we've got some big games coming up, and it's behind the scenes. It's like every few days someone's handing in their notice or someone's quitting. I mean, we must be the richest club in the world by the time we get the books out in a few months' time, because we're not paying any of these wages for these people behind the scenes. So we must be saving an absolute fortune. So someone's got to get a hold of the club, and we'll see how the next 2 months pan out. But we're going to find out. I've said this in the last pods. It's also a positive, because if he can win these matches, then the fans will get behind him. If we start seeing something, if he manages to beat Kilmarnock, he beats Steaua Bucharest, and then that's 6 points in Europe. You can't knock that. And then he beats St Mirren, and then we've got the Motherwell semi-final in Aberdeen. If he can win all the matches, then we start to build momentum, because he told us October we were going to see this team. So now it's time to shine.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you some quick fire questions then, right, on Clement's first year. So who has been his best signing as at today's date? So Ricky first, just literally quick fire.
I'm going to say Barami.
Scott?
Something I want to cost Jefty.
Scotty?
Barami.
Right. So we come to the end of the season. Whatever outcome is, who do you think will have been the best player over the season for Rangers? Or his best signing?
Quick fire, I'll probably Barron. I think Barron will get the player of the year at the end of the season, just for his dig in his heart.
All right. Scott?
I agree, Conor Barron.
Scotty?
Barami.
So I mean, I'm going to go back to Barron, right? So fast thing with Barron, right? So Barron's played really well, been excellent, been excelled. But the 2 games where he's been extremely poor is the 2 games we've lost, 2 big games. You know, I think if that was to continue throughout the season, does it identify the level he's at the moment? If he was to stay, I suppose the best way to put this, if he was to stay at the same level he's at just now, and those big games he's not performing as well as he should be, will fans still be as tolerant and as praiseworthy as at this moment, Ricky?
Well, to be fair, I mean, if you listen to Barry Ferguson, even Barry Ferguson said when he first played Old Firm games, he was like, holy shit, it takes you a few games to get used to the pace and the speed. And to be honest with you, against Leon, I didn't actually think he played that bad. I think he had one really bad mistake where it cost us a goal, and then he got skinned in the second half from that absolute whiz kid that was skinning everyone. But apart from that, I never thought he played. But I still, to be honest with you, I still think 2 positions for me in the team, Barron and Raskin. Raskin can still win that position back from Barron, and I would like to see him rotated and do a bit more coaching on the training ground. I don't want to see him playing every single minute of every game, but Raskin's got to step up to the plate. And I say the same for Yilmaz at left back. I still think Yefte's got a lot to learn. He gets in some great positions, but his final ball, I think, is at time lets him down. So I still think they 2 positions are up for grabs, but we need to see it from Raskin, and we need to see. But Barron for me has been absolutely fine. He's grown into the shirt. He's been outstanding so far, and he's only going to get better.
Possibly. I think I'm always slightly concerned that there's a little bit too much positive on him, that if he does actually start to fall away a bit, some bits they turn on him very quickly. Maybe that's my view of Rangers fans at things, as we all are. So quick fire round again then. So what has been, and I'll come to Scotty first, the standout performance in these 12 months for Clermont? The game that you remember and think that's what we want.
Oh God, I don't actually remember one. I'll probably say as far as getting excited, Betis away. I think that was a real thriller of a match. But I don't think it's one that we particularly controlled that well. But we took our chances, and to go away and win there was brilliant. Honourable mention to a cup final, but again we struggled through that one, but we came away with the trophy. So I don't think we've. It's a quick fire one. We can move on. I can carry on rabbiting on.
I felt you were trying to justify it coming in there. Ricky.
Malmo, we should have won 7-0, mate. I know we missed chances, but we were outstanding. Controlled that game from start to finish, and they didn't have a shot on goal. Malmo.
Quite far back to your domestic one, because European wins are obviously different games. Was it the best?
Probably, I don't know. Maybe Ross County when we won 6-0 that day was very impressive. What good goals!
The stats were really good, I believe. I had somebody saying that a moment ago. Scott.
Domestically, we played well at Tynecastle last year. If I remember right, when we played a decent game there last year. Betis for me because the opponent, I thought Malmo were hopeless. I thought that we should have beaten them more, but I thought they were hopeless. But Betis, even though Betis had a lot of chances, we dug deep that night. We should know in some games we don't. A lot of games we've been winning, Gary. We've just been getting by because opposition have been missing good chances, and that's not always going to continue. And I think we've a wee bit of luck as well. And I know he keeps going to win at clean sheets, but some of the games with a wee bit of luck and some of the chances teams have missed.
So looking then, as we move into this season, so we're now 7 games into the league season, and if I'm right, we've won 5, drew 1 and lost 1. You'll remember when it was we lost. But during that time, we have had 5 clean sheets, is that right? 5 clean sheets, and lost goals against Motherwell and against Celtic. So are we, I suppose my question to you first, Scotty, are we where we think we should? Are we where we should be at this point in time? So when we look at the European results, where we are in Europe, where we are in the League Cup, and where we are in the league, should we be expecting any more, or is this where we should be at this stage?
I'm always going to expect more. Just particularly when you look at the strength of the league, and I think we've come up with one challenge yet drop points in 2 games. So for me, that's actually really quite disappointing. But in the grand scheme of a 38-game league, it's not disastrous. It's not the end of the world. It's how you react and how you kick on for the rest of the season. Typically, I'd expect us to go on a run until Christmas, and historically, the players have shown they're capable of doing that. And for me, the period between November and January, February is when the league is actually won. We get some momentum, we put pressure on, then we can actually see some real positive things for the season. But I just think we lack probably a little bit of squad depth. So come January, if we get ourselves into the position, we definitely need to back, double down, and really go for it. Without wanting to talk about them across the city, they're going to be thinking exactly the same way. Nothing's won in October, November. So early days, we can put ourselves into a really good position from here.
So Scott, where we're at the start of the season, what's been the plus points to you then? If you were thinking the plus points, 7 league games and a few European games and a semi-final League Cup, what's the plus points so far?
Some of the new signings have done okay, like I say. Some of them winning done well, Jake's winning done well.
Done okay, is that as good as it gets, Scott?
Barron's winning done well. I want more, Gary, and I think it's because I'm not saying we're entitled to more. As a football fan, you always want your team to do better. I want us to do a lot better, and I just feel at this moment in time we're getting by, but we're not getting by well. We're just getting by. Do you know that way? I know it takes Kilmarnock to knock us off on Saturday or on Sunday, as you say, or going to Piccadilly, and then we struggle. Because I feel the crowd at the moment, the fans at the moment are kind of 50-50 in the manager. Listen, I know he's going to be here. I'm not saying sack him auction just now, but I think it's a very fine line between fans getting excited and the fans being angry because of the way we are just now, just as a club in general, as Scotty's alluded to right at the start. Because some of the games have been murder to watch. You watch them because you're a fan, but you want your team to do better, you want your team to win better. And I know we can't always win well, we can't always look good, but you want that. And I don't see it for some of this team, and I think that stems from the manager. I think he has to do more. I think he has to move his formation more. I think his tactics have to change slightly, especially against. We're going to dominate the ball quite a lot at times, but we don't score enough goals. We just don't. We score one and we struggle. So against Hibs, we scored and we struggled. And if Hibs were a decent outfit, they could have come away with something. So I think we need more from the lineup. We need more from the team. We need more from the manager. But I do also agree, if we won the next couple of league games, we won in Christmas time, we're still in the melting pot. But I just want more for the side. I want more from the manager. And I know it's a lot to ask, but I just feel we've got some good players, but we've got some very average players.
So Ricky, from the start of the season, so if you look back to the 31st of July, to how you're feeling, your level of optimism to where you're at now, and we're in the 14th of October, has it risen or fallen? Much the same?
I would say much the same, but as I said to you, we've got a massive 2 months coming up, right? So if I look at the team, I think Butland had a shaky Old Firm game, but I think since the Old Firm game, he seems to have reclaimed his form, and I think Butland has been okay, but he needs to perform in these big games. We can't have a goalkeeper who, when it's the big games, and I mean the big games, we've always had your McGregors, your Gorhams, your Clauses. We need Butland to be that in the big games and not be a shite bag. The defence I'm pretty happy with. I mean, we've not conceded. You can't really complain about 5 clean sheets in a row in the league. I think Proper and Suter have been. I think Suter's had a good. He started a bit shaky, but I really was impressed with his form, and I thought he played well for Scotland. Oh, Jesus, man, he went from Proper, the slowest man in the world, to Hanley, who was running with a handbrake on and then rousting it right back. I felt sorry for him, man. Suter must be thinking, when am I going to get a decent partnership and some decent defenders around me? But I know, so I've been quite impressed. The defence has got, I can see shoots there. The defence has been promising. I agree with you with Barron. I think the praise has been a little bit over the top, but I do think he'll get better as the season goes on. The midfield, I still don't think we're that strong in midfield. I don't think Diamande, I think he's still... I watched Kamara last night for Finland, and Kamara was outstanding, and I was like, oh, I wish he was still in our midfield rather than Diamande. So Diamande needs a lot of coaching, and we need to see a little bit more from him, and the midfield needs to be a little bit stronger. But up front is where I'm worried the most. I think we need to keep Barami on the left. Czerny, we need to find some consistent form out of Czerny, because he's really our only fit winger. McCausland, when he starts, doesn't really perform. When he comes off the bench, he seems to be a different player. So that's the way we need to be using him. And we need to get these wingers back. We need to get Matondo and Cortez back as soon as possible. And up front, number 9, Dessers. Oh my God, man, it's hard. He's a hard watch. When he's good, he's okay. But I mean, with all these big games this season, he's not scored a goal. He's missed chance after chance, and that's got to improve. So if Danilo is fit, the manager has to get him up to match sharpness as quick as possible and get him in that starting lineup, because Igamani, after his promising start, has looked a bit raw the last sort of 3 appearances, and we need a number 9 that actually can hold the ball. He doesn't even need to be banging in goals, but he needs to be linking the play so the team can play off him and the team can perform a lot better than it's been. I think the reason a lot of the time we're so disjointed is because we've got a lamppost up front as number 9. The ball just bounces off him, and it's a bit all over the place. So there is a massive room for improvement. I hope that we can win these matches, and I hope it works out for Comont. We don't want to be sacking managers, so I hope he can go on a good run of victories for the next 2 months, and then hopefully in 2 months' time we're all sitting here going, what a turnaround in the team. Everything he promised us has actually happened, and we start to see some victories in Old Firm games, beat Aberdeen, and we're in a cup final. That would be nice.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask a question, Ricky, just to put you on the spot here, right? Again, quick fire slightly. If you were offered £3 million for Danilo or Dessers in January, who would you sell?
Both of them, straight away, no problem.
Only one. Don't change the question.
I would sell. I know, but you have to sell Danilo. But it's you know, you're asking like somebody cheating on your wife or somebody burning down your house here. You know, that's how grim the options are. It's so you'd have to sell Danilo because he's never fit. He's made of glass. So Dessers is a donkey, but at least he's fit. You know.
Yeah. Sorry, I just popped in my head and I was listening. So Scott, I just come back to we've not conceded many goals. We've conceded in 2 games in the league, and also been pretty solid in a lot of other games. So this year appears to be scoring goals. Now, Dezers, when he's good, he's good. When he's bad, we think we know that. So, but we also play with, as you say, kamikaze, whereby there's a full team up the park, but don't seem to be able to score enough a lot of goals. What do you think that's down to? Is it the quality of the player? Is it the tactics? Is it the fact they're not really goal scoring players? I find it slightly puzzling personally. I'm intrigued by your thoughts on it.
So I think there's a huge gap between the midfield and the defence quite a lot of the time, and attacking teams tend to find a lot of space right in front of our defence, and it's the talented teams that will find that, and they're the ones that will punish us. Against the majority of Scottish teams, will be absolutely fine, but that just doesn't seem to be addressed. I haven't seen that kamikaze tactic that we did against Benfica. I think we tried to get Celtic and we got hammered as well. But we haven't really seen it since then. But it's just that alarming wariness that we've seen. In terms of attacking when we're not scoring, I just think we're really rusty. Like Cherney, he needs a run of games. He needs a consistent run of games. The boy's clearly got talent. He's just got no belief and he's rusty. That's like the worst combination. If you've got belief but you're rusty, you can kind of get through it. If you're not rusty and you're sharp and you're short of belief, you can play yourself through it. If you haven't got either, God, it's a bit of a slog, particularly when you've got such demanding fans. But by Rami coming in and finding form quickly straight away, which is something we've been crying out for, but we're continually told that it can't be done. You need to give these players time to come in. Well, Bayrami's busted that myth. He's coming in. He's absolutely flying. He's one of the best technical players in terms of seeing a pass, playing a pass quickly. It's only going to benefit the rest of the attackers, whoever that may be. Like Dessers, for all the will in the world, and I'm desperate for him to succeed. I have absolutely no idea how he's not. He's like given the tools and all the chances, and some moments he looks absolutely brilliant, and the next it's like, oh, I've had enough. I give up. But we haven't got anything else. We're kind of like stuck with it. But these are all decisions of our own making, and we've got to fall on our sword here because we had opportunities to get rid of Dessers in the summer, find another striker, dillied and dallied, and nothing happened. That was the decision. We dillied, right? So now we're stuck. Will it come good? Yeah, I'm confident it will come good. They're not. They're international footballers. They're not actually bad footballers. They're just missing something. And I can't quite put my finger on what it is. But as a team, we look very disjointed between the defence, the midfield, and the attack. That needs to be knitted together. It's not my job to do it. I can't sit here and analyse how you can or make the decisions how. That's the job. That's why you pay your coach thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. So we've got talented players. You could go through the whole squad and go, these aren't bad footballers. Scott's right. Some of them are really good. Some of them are average. But average is more than enough in Scotland. It's perhaps not when we're trying to get to the elite level in Europe. But then if you look at the squad from 2 years ago, it's exactly the same. Look where we got to.
Yeah. I think if you do a comparison, if you look at the 2022 squad versus this one, there's not a lot of difference in levels. Some of those players peaked at certain points in that 1 year, potentially, for arguably momentum carried us forward to a Europa League final rather than quality, but the difference of players isn't significant. So, Scott, as we go into this period, which is 7 games over 21 days, which takes us up to what seems to be another international break, I believe, in the middle of November. It seems to be constant. We play more international games, we play league games. So by the time we get to there, as Ricky says, we've played a couple of European games, played a League Cup semi-final, and 2 or 3 league games. Where do we need to be across those 3 competitions to realistically still be in a strong place?
We need to show up better in Europe, but I think it's a tough ask considering who we're going to be up against. But also in the league, we can't even afford to drop any more points. doesn't matter who they're playing against, we can't afford to drop many more points because we're not just enough. I don't think I don't think we're good enough, but we have to be thinking we can. We have to be challenging. But we're in a fight for second place. We don't want to go further behind Aberdeen in second place. I think the momentum will drop after a few defeats. But until that happens, we have to keep up. We have to go to Dodge and get a result. The problem with the team is, Gary, this is just my take on it. I feel like I said earlier, that nobody knows where they're meant to be. We're putting Cross in the box at times. It's only Dethers that's there. Because the wingers I've been told to come inside. Cherny's too predictable for me. He never goes on the outside, he always goes inside because he's left footed. So he's very easy to work out. Granted, Barami's played well out on the left. I still think he's better inside because I think you get his strengths more. But he comes inside as well. When you're putting a ball across the box and Dessers makes a move to the middle or the front, there's nobody ever at the back post. You've seen it time and time again. The right numbers in the box. And we're having moments for certain players, especially Tom Lawrence is getting his goals. But you're not going to always have moments. You're going to have to have people to take chances. And I agree, some of the comments said that Dessers not been a problem. He has a problem for us, but we need goals from our position as well. You can't just keep relying on Dessers. So I think the manager still has to tinker with tactics and information to get the best out of us because we're still too easy to hit on the break. But I don't know what he's going to do. I just feel we need to go to Kilmarnock. We need to be more compact. The centre backs are too high up the park and they've not got any pace. I'm faster than Proper. I'm 52. But he's good on the ball, Proper. He's good passing out from the back. He's a footballing defender. Souters, he's actually, if you look at his stats, I'm not big on stats, but his stats, he's actually quite dominant in there as well. But he lacks a wee bit of physicality, I feel, just now. I don't know if he'll learn that. He's a bit old, so I don't know if he'll learn it to play in Scotland. Souter, to me, he's been playing really well, but I still also a mistake in him. But also with John Souter is at the moment, you keep an eye on Tav, because Tav gets cut out quite a lot. And because Jenny's not coming back, Souter's over there, then Proper's over there to try and cover. And you get Barron, you see that against Leon. See them at one guy, one boy standing himself. Do you know what I mean? So I just think we need some more structure. And we need the players being told, this is your position, don't really move. But also, they're lacking numbers on every part, so but unless they change the information, they're always going to have two in there, and we're going to have three.
So that probably leads us on nicely to the next topic then. So we'll talk. Niels Coppin done an interview at Rangers TV last week, end of last week, beginning of this week, I know it was. And obviously these things are quite sanitised. There's questions that are asked by Rangers TV, so they're probably prepared very much in advance. But Rick, I think you watched it. I suppose just really what was your kind of takeaways and observations from it?
Yeah, no, he spoke very well. Like you said, it's a Rangers TV interview, so you're not going to get anything that's the unexpected. But no, he's the way he was speaking. That's the one thing at the club that seems to be working. They're happy with the scouting department, and they've went to a more data-based. They're using data and all of these sites to find players and whittle it down to 15, 16 players that they can present to the manager. He did say that budget's a big problem. Obviously, they're presenting players to the manager and the board are struggling to back. That's probably Seema and a few others like that after we didn't get the Champions League money in the summer. But he spoke pretty positive about January. It sounds like Coman understands that in a few positions he's absolutely short and he needs to strengthen. But I would imagine we'll need to move players on. I don't see how it's going to be different because we've still got quite a big wage bill. We've still got players, your Raskins, your Tavs on crazy money that are really not justifying that. So we'll have to try and move a few players on. But I would like to see 3 or 4 players coming in January. And I like Coppin. I think he's done quite well. You've got to remember, with the budget we have, it's not easy to find players. I mean, he even admitted we can't even compete with England anymore. We're down. We're not even competing with the Championship anymore. Even your teams like Birmingham and that are out paying us for wages and that now. So it's becoming harder and harder and harder. And that, for me, is a reason that we need to sort out our academy and be bringing through players. But that's a whole different podcast, that. But no, the interview was really good. I would urge everyone to go and watch it. And for once, there was something positive coming out from Rangers. But saying that, Gary, give it 2 days, he'll probably hand in his notice and he'll be quitting as well, because that seems to be he'll probably be away before January, and will be Clement will be doing everything himself. So we will see if he lasts until January.
He did talk actually in an interview about how him and Clement did sit down with Clement gets involved in it as well. There's a bit more of involvement than a lot of managers he's been used to doing, which I suppose takes you back to the question I'm going to pick, Scotty, and it goes back to what Scott was saying. So we're signing players to fit a certain tactical style, which seems to be a case of get the wingers down the line, cross the box, ball in, but we don't actually buy players that do that, or play players that cut inside. I suppose I'm a bit looking at what Coppin's obviously looking at certain styles of play, but then it doesn't necessarily match with the way we're then playing.
That's a really good point, because I have absolutely no idea what style of football we play. Genuinely, I've been trying to work it out, and it very much feels like 11 guys go on the park and you've all got your skill set. Go showcase something. By the way, we're going to perform to this kind of structure, because signing Bayrami, if he is a number 10, and the way that he plays doesn't fit in with the rest of the midfield. Also playing on the left doesn't fit in that particular tricky winger, Cortez, Matondo, Cherney kind of vibe. So that just feels like a signing where we've taken an opportunity to sign a really good player at a low cost, albeit a high cost for us. But for his standard, I think we've got him quite cheap. And then we've got different strikers. Igamane's different to Dessers, who's different to Danilo, albeit they weren't Coppin signings. And then the midfield, like we're just signing players, and yes, you can do that, but then you need to identify what your player skill set is to then put them in a structure that they'll all thrive, rather than have a structure, right, you're closest fit to that position, therefore that's where you're going. It just feels a little bit mishmash at the moment. And yeah, because if you've got an unlimited budget, you can draw up a huge shortlist of players of exactly the player that you want. If you narrow that budget, the availability of players narrows with it. So you're not always going to be, in fact, you're going to be pretty lucky to identify the exact player that you want for your position. So there needs to be a bit of give there from Clement. If there is a style of play, I'm no tactical genius. I can identify a Pep team. I can identify a Jose Mourinho team. I can identify an Ange team. Do you know what I mean? It's really clear and obvious. Gerrard's team, really clear. Gio's team, really clear. This, not too sure. Same with Bill, not too sure.
So Scott, I suppose then go back to the point then, if Neil's Coppin, who's identifying players to fit what should be the tactical shape, the style of play, the design, and it seems to be at times that we're signing good players. Jeffrey's a good player, but he's an attacking winger. Proper's a good defender, but as you say, he's a ball-playing centre-half. You've got Bayrami, who's an excellent technical player, but so is Todd Cantwell, and we didn't want him to play that number 10 position. So I suppose that where are we at in terms of the scouting, fitting the structure?
I mean, some of the players identified and they brought in, like I said to you before, they look really good, and I just don't want something like Bayrami to come in who we know everybody can see. Anybody, any football player can see the boys are talented for football. But you could come to Rangers and get Hadji sitting there as well, who's very similar. But really, he's not an athlete chasing things everywhere. He likes the ball, his feet, and do you know what I mean? So he has to be more flexible with his structure and more flexible with his tactics and his formation. You just can't say what to play this. And you can see some games where maybe go to 3 at the back, a 5 across the middle, whatever, and you've seen them try to push maybe a warning up closer to Dessers. But use your players' strengths. I mean, you get asked a question about Raskin. He said one interview Raskin and try to change how he plays. Then he was asked in the interview, he says, Raskin's just been told, doing what he's told, but what is it? He doesn't really tell you answers. He gives you more of a question than an answer. Whereas you look at, every manager's interviewed, and some managers just go out and tell you, right, like, when we've done it a couple of, in European games, we do it all the time, you see managers come out and saying, what's this midfielder doing? Well, he does this and does that. They're not scared to tell you how they operate, but it's like, come on, it's scared to tell you how they operate. But if you're playing somebody, especially in Europe or whatever, they're going to know how we play. Well, they might not know how we play because we don't know how we play, but they're going to know how these players, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. So even if Coleman doesn't come out in interviews and says that, it's not going to for the opposition, but it has to come out and tell the fans how it's happening. I mean, it's like Sterling when he came out and said he's given him a new deal. He's going to be here for a while because he sees him building in a future and the Rangers set up. Then he says, but he has to play 10 games in a row before he'll consider him as a starter. But you can't play 10 games in a row if you're not picked.
No.
And why you're not getting picked. It's just so many things come out and says it. It just confuses me, Gary. And I feel maybe he's like that. Maybe I don't know if he's like that in the coaching area. I don't know if he's like that with the players tactical wise because he confuses me, so I don't know what he's like speaking to the players.
Yeah, no, definitely. So we're coming towards the end, so I'm just going to pick up another question for you all then. So we're talking about Coppin. So if you were to get on the phone, Neil's Coppin tomorrow and say, this is a position we need filled in January, and this type of player, this style of attributes, to use football manager terms, what would it be? So Ricky, come to you first. January comes, Neil's, this is what I want you to get from me.
Jackpot, okay, it would be a striker and striker number 9, and I would still take Shanklin. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care about how bad he's played this season. I think he is perfect, and another striker on top of him, but I would take him for the SPSL for our bread and butter games. And then a number 6 as well. We need a number 6, someone that just sits there, dictates the play, breaks the line so Barron can go box to box. 100% number 6. We should have had that. And also, I think we've done quite well in the right, but we need to give Casson Wurzo a chance. You know, he's playing brilliant for Holland under 21s, assist after assist after assist, winning matches, and we're not giving these players a chance. Like Scott says, like with Sterling, he says he's going to play 10 games. So for me, that would be the two positions would be a 6 and a 9, and we also need wingers as well. But I'm not being too greedy. I'll stay 6 and a 9, 6 and a 9, 6 and a 9. Okay.
You like that number, Ricky, don't you?
6 and a 9.
Move on. Scott, your choice.
Our striker, I mean, our striker. I think with Danilo, we can't count on it at the moment. We don't know how he is coming back from injury. He said he's out for 3 weeks and is he back training? He said it is, but we don't know how he's going to be. It's going to take him a good while to go up to match fitness, and if he does, will he break down again? We just don't know. I think a man I like the look of, but he is a bit raw, but I like the look of him. I think there is something there. I think give him more game time, he will get better. But we need another striker to put the ball in it. I know Dessers can do it at times, but we need just somebody else. We need somebody more. Dessers for a big guy is not physical enough for me. We should be pulling defenders more. We should be holding the ball up more. He doesn't do that. And I know that's not what we want. If we can't get everywhere, but we need somebody like that because sometimes we don't hold the ball up and then it's back and we're defending again. So we need somebody just to hold up a bit more, bring others into play. So I'll go with number 9. I don't want to talk about other positions because I could be here all night, so I'm just going to go with number 9.
That's fine. And you know, just as every time I listen to when he's talking, it's about Dessers' skill sets as flicks, isn't it? You know, but we don't tactically that doesn't suit the way they play. So goes back to the whole argument again. Scotty, you're one position.
Can I just quickly really say, Scott, you just wound me up there because I completely forgot about Dess's knack of getting into a goal-scoring position and throwing himself to the deck. That for me is a huge issue because that's a striker that doesn't want to score goals. He should be like elbowing, push it like Mark Hateley style. Just get out my way. I'm going to score a goal here. But he'd rather throw himself on the deck, and I'm sick of seeing it. That being said, I think our team would be massively improved by a midfielder, a central midfielder. And if I was gonna pick one within Scotland, it would be Lennon Miller because I think he's got all the attributes to be a top player, and he's got that physical presence, or like in the mold of his dad, who is just an absolute battering ram. If you can have one of those guys with a bit of pace and a bit of flair in the middle of the park with energy, then you're on to a winner.
That makes sense. I think it's interesting because everybody in every podcast you were listening talks about the number 6 position, as if that one position has got to potentially make a massive difference given the way that most podcasts talk. So I think that's the thing we hopefully all going to see. I think as we come to the end, then I was thinking, sorry, Scotty.
Unless we're going to sign Rodri, I'm not fussed about a number 6 because number 6.
We might get him now. We might get him now. He's injured. Now just back
It's sort of pointless because everyone sees a number 6 in Scotland as a guy that picks up the ball and passes it sideways. I'm not interested. That's really boring. Stop doing it. Unless you're Rodri, stop doing it.
So, and we don't need it. Let's get it forward. It doesn't suit his style anyway. So we're coming to the end of the pod, and I was thinking. So for you don't know, me and Scott go back for 30 years, right? So we used to sit together at Ibrox every week, talking tactical nows. We knew what we were talking about. Everybody else about it, had no idea. Spent many years talking through the games. It made me think. So I had a look, and 25 years ago this week, Rangers played PSV in the Champions League, and we were at that game, Scott. Because I remember being there and us talking about it. I was interested in your recollections. You're too young for this, Scotty, probably. Your recollection of it, Ricky, and Scott. Do you remember who scored the goals?
Yeah, it was Moles. Moles scored one, did he? It was I remember that season. That was one of our best performances under Advocaat. What a team that was, and that's when, if Moles never got injured, we could have actually. That's probably we could have went quite far in the Champions League. That injury absolutely killed us. But that night at Ibrox, that team had everything, man. It had pace, it had power, it had actual world class players. And it was unbelievable watching us absolutely destroy a good in PSV. They couldn't believe it because when Newman signed for us, they were all giving him stick, going, "What the hell have you signed for Glasgow Rangers for?" They could nobody in Holland could work it out. And then we drew PSV in the Champions League and absolutely pulled their pants down and gave them a spanking of a lifetime. And then everyone was like, "Oh, maybe he's made a good decision here,"
It's sliding doors moment, but. At the time we signed Newman, we had an agreement to sign Jaap Stammer as well at the same time. I think we had a combined deal for 10 million quid or something for the pair of them. And Man United came in and just signed Jaap Stammer for 10 million quid.
Was that something with Van Nistelrooy as well around about that time? I can't remember.
No, he wasn't interested in coming, but we tried. He wasn't interested in coming though.
So do you remember, Scott, you're too young, are you not, Scott, for that game?
Right. That's the group we had PSV, Bayern Munich, and was it Valencia in the same group?
Is it not PSV, Sturm Graz, and
Sturm Graz and PSV, and who was the other team? I can't remember the other team.
Can't remember.
Was it Valencia? Must have been Valencia. And they had Mendieta and Claudio Lopez. No, I remember that game. Back in the day, it wasn't on TV, so I had to listen to it on the radio.
Watch it in teletext.
How old is this?
Who can then, Scott? This is not you. Then this is to test your knowledge. And can you name the team? Name the team. Who do you think it was?
I can't remember yesterday.
Goalkeeper, Scott.
Close.
Right back.
Perini,
yeah. Two centre halves. Just shout out if you think you know him.
Amarissa Moore.
Yep. Left back, like Australian.
Oh, Vidmar.
Two centre midfielders, two legendary centre midfielders.
Van Bronckhorst.
Aye.
Ferguson.
Yeah.
Rayner, Alberts, Moles, Wallace.
No. Let's go left wing. Who would be left wing? He's regularly on Sky nowadays.
McCann.
Neil McCann was left wing. Up front, Moles and Wallace. Right midfielder was a surprise one to me. Derek McInnes.
Oh yeah.
Wow. McInnes, nice. It was Derek, yeah.
And that's why done something different tactically, didn't he? He kind of put him in a sitting role. Something. You had Alberts, Amato, Kanchelskis, Johansson on the bench, to name a few. Scott Wilson, to be fair, but that's.
Let's have a take Scott Wilson in there.
I know. That's why 25 years ago, what a team. Do you know, that was the days when outstanding result. As I say, me and Scotty were sitting at that game.
Just shows you how football's changed. What does it money-wise?
Yeah.
There you go. I think Buffalo Alberts is confirming me in the chat. PSV, Valencia, and Bayern.
There we go.
Yes.
Sturm Graz, Monaco, and Galatasaray the next year.
Okay, good.
I thought it was
because when we got the group, I can't remember who it was, described Valencia as the Aberdeen of Spain. And then we went.
That's right.
And we got absolutely hammered. We got, I think it was 2-1 or 2-0. But we were
They
hammered.
don't get to a couple of European Cup finals, but or Champions League.
Yeah, they
finals.
did.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, the striker that was amazing. I can't remember the striker, the Mendy, and the striker that was outstanding at the time. For
Claudio
years.
Lopez and Claudio Lopez up front and Keely Gonzalez on the wing.
So it was. And
Um,
as we finish, we'll not, you might remember the next time we played Valencia when Ricky Foster was Mr. Sitter. Anyhow, so I think that's probably enough for tonight. A little bit of reminiscing. Just, I don't know if you have any final thoughts or anything, Ricky, yourself?
No, hopefully good. Looking forward to getting the Rangers back on it's Sunday the game, is it? Sunday, 12 o'clock. So looking forward to that, mate. And I hate these international breaks with a passion, so can't come quick enough.
Yeah,
Scotty,
I just welcome to the pod and Scotty back on the podcast. I should say that welcome to joining us, and just also say I can't believe my Kilmarnock ticket and Sunday's dearer than the semi-final ticket. Brutal. Scotty's football man charging you £34 to play rugby park. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
that's for the posh seats, isn't it?
No, it's behind the goals.
Are they still giving us less tickets for Kilmarnock? Remember they done that? Is that still a small?
Just one stand.
One stand. Ridiculous.
And Scotty, you've not been on for a while, you've said, so hopefully you've enjoyed it and you'll come back again soon.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me. Like, I really enjoyed it. It's been a blast for the past. Definitely look forward to doing another one if you'll have me. Yeah,
Great job, boys.
Cheers, thanks for that. And we'll see you again. I think we're back on Friday night, is that right? With a preview pod for the game on Sunday. 8:30 again. And like and subscribe, do all the stuff you should do. And we'll see you later. Good night.